Ladies and gentlemen, here are the stars of our show, Tyler, 5 Cent Wax, and Joe-RedneckClector. Take it away, fellas.
Hey, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of Goats on a Budget. I've got one of the best guys, one of my best buddies in the community here with me tonight, Joe the Redneck Collector. Joe, how's it going, man?
It's going great, man. I've been looking forward to doing this one for a while. I appreciate you giving me a little bit of time to get more ready, so to speak, for this episode. But it's been on my mind all, kind of through the holidays. So I'm ready.
Yeah. Well, speaking of the holidays, how was Christmas and how's 2026 treating you so far?
So holidays were good. Kids got way too much stuff, and it was nice to spend time with the family. And I managed to, make a few. I've been steady making eBay purchases, and a few card shop, a few card show, a few purchases from friends. So I've started 2026 out with a bang. I've had some really, really good stuff. I got some stuff coming. I've got some mail days coming, knee deep in the TTM world. And yeah, I'm having a blast. 2026 is shaping up.
Glad to hear it. I've had the opportunity and been lucky enough to see some of those pickups you've made so far, Joe. And I've got to say you've done well from the man cave down there. I'm convinced. I made reference to this, Joe. You hosted a live stream, your first one, earlier this week, and I don't know how many people may have picked up on it, but I am totally convinced that you sat down there in that basement scouring eBay. You sacrifice a live chicken when you need a deal. Light a candle. There's a seance of some sort. It's a really dark thing, is what
I summon the darkness, the dark powers.
Well, as everybody will find out in the near future, I'm sure you've already shown off some great pickups, and we look forward to seeing the rest. But so here we are, Goats on a Budget. This has kind of become a regular thing for us, and of course, we've worked through cards of the 50s, cards of the 60s. Our last time around, we actually kind of focused on the 70s. So I'm pleased to say it's time to talk about the cards of our childhood, Joe.
Yep.
The 1980s, we have entered the junk wax era. But let's think back. 1980s. Well, what's some great pop culture icons of the time I can remember? So we got G.I. Joe.
G.I. Joe would be high on my list. Star Wars would be really high on my list. Transformers, yep.
Oh Kelly Kapowski from Saved by the Bell is very important.
By the Bell, the cartoons, Smurfs, Saturday morning cartoons, and WWF before it was the WWE, right?
Back when it was real, yeah.
Back when it was real, that's right, yeah.
Yeah, so, Weekend at Bernie's, yeah. So the list goes on and on and on. It is so much fun to look back at these cards. So we're going to be looking at some 80s era cards. The criteria for what we looked at, of course, we kind of follow the collector grades depending on what era we're in. Mm-hmm. So we're looking at cards that can be found on the cheap around a grade 8. It's important to mention, though, I think the more I've looked around, you can very easily pick up a nice 9 in most of these cards for not much more, nearly the same money in certain instances. So keep that in mind. This is only a kind of a rough, a way to show you guys what the current comps are. The comps are actually as of today, pulled as of today. And so, yeah, that's up to date. I think everybody's going to be surprised at how cheap you can go pick up some of these cards. I've done it a little bit differently, making the slide deck this time. We always show the PSA average and the SGC average from VCP. We'll show the latest sales according to VCP. I went, now that you can kind of do the oversight on sales on eBay very easily for a lot of cards, I went and pulled the most recent 3 sales on eBay. Even though those should be getting reported to VCP, there's sometimes a lag in that kind of transition and happening over to VCP, I've noticed. Yep. So just for verification and kind of another source, wanted to throw the eBay recent sales of usually the most recent 3 is what I pulled, just as another reference. But there's a lot of great players that can be picked up from the junk wax era. So
absolutely, and I think back to when we decided to do the 80s, there's a lot of these cards that, and there's even a couple that I don't have. There's some that I don't have graded, because when I got back in the hobby in 2016, I lived through all this. I had most of these cards I had raw, or I still have raw, but some of them I sold, back at their peak. And I kind of avoided them. When I got back in 2016, I kind of lived this era, right? So it's I wanted to go back and buy the stuff that I couldn't afford when I was younger. I loved vintage when I was younger, but I had my vintage collection was, it was limited. So this was kind of cool for me to kind of swing back. The pendulum swung back to the 80s, and I started kind of looking at a different lens and looking at it through that collector grade, right? I know some people don't like that term. Getting a 7 from the 70s, a six from the 60s, it kind of represents bang for the buck, right? Because when you're talking about those grade cards in that decade, that's a pretty nice grade. Just like in the, I'm going to defy people to go out and find the difference between an 8 or a 9 or a 10 in most of these cards, unless it's centering. I mean, I think centering plays a huge factor in all these cards that we're going to show. But other than centering, I think it's really, really tough. So finding a nice 8, or as the decade wears on, the closer you get to 1990, I think it turns into 9s. You can jump into the 9s and get them still at like the same kind of price point, really.
Right. Joe, I kind of happened to think about this. Maybe we're on the same page on this, but what do you actually consider the junk wax era? I know this comes up a lot. Like, where's the cutoff?
Yeah, it comes up a lot. And for me, I don't know. I guess when I think about it, I think about my participation in the hobby, which really started in, 87. So I think of like 87 to like, I don't know, 96 or something like that being solidly. Yeah. But I think most people would go back further than that and maybe say starting in, 85 or somewhere around there. And some would extend it all the way up to maybe 2000. But for me, I think of like, about a 10-year stretch there, 87 to 95, 96. That's what in my mind, that's what junk wax pops in my head.
Yeah. And mine too. And I don't know, maybe I need to take it back farther. I did notice Mookie Chilson had a good video out here, I think before the holidays, where I think he says basically the synopsis of the video is that 1984 is the beginning of junk wax. And I never really thought about it, but he raised some good points. I always, like, by default, kind of define vintage as like 1979 and the years previous. But either way, it doesn't matter. Just an interesting kind of conversation and discussion that I find a lot of collectors have, and I've had myself. Before we get started, Joe, the other thing I'm going to mention that I just happened to notice is, neither one of us have a hat on tonight, and we're looking very dapper. I mean, we're usually have the tops covered, but we're looking pretty clean tonight.
Yeah, that's right. I feel good.
Yeah, the chicks dig it. All right, Joe. Well, I'm going to pull up the old slide deck here.
All right.
And we'll jump right in, sir. So the first card we found is the 1981 Topps number 261 Ricky Henderson. So everybody thinks of his rookie card. This is his second-year card. Great card, can be found cheap. His rookie card in a higher grade goes for a fair chunk of money. This card, however, and I do happen to have this card and forgot to pull it. I should have. But we have a PSA average of $29.58, SGC average of $23.66. You can see the most recent sales in both those slabs there on the VCP windows. And then if you look at the most recent eBay sales, one of which was from the day of this recording or a couple of days ago from this recording, you got one for $35.66 on eBay, $25, and $29.99. So that averages out those three sales $30.21, which is right in line with that PSA 8 average. But this is a good look at a young Ricky and a cheaper way to get an early playing days card.
Yeah, absolutely. Because if you look at his rookie card, probably most people would consider it, maybe 80 is the end of vintage because that's the last year of just Topps manufacturing cards. And maybe his is the last, kind of great rookie card, if you will. And to get it in an 8 is, I don't even know. It's probably pushing $1,000 maybe in an 8. I'm not even sure because
I'm pretty sure it's a common card at that point.
It's definitely very, very expensive. So, you're not going to be able to get into, an 8 very easy on a rookie card, but here's a way to get his, his second card. I had this card in a PSA 8 until sometime maybe a couple years ago. I actually sold it. It was kind of maybe still during the pandemic a little bit. It was it was going for quite more. It was going for more than it is now even. And so I did part ways with it to kind of fund a different purchase. But it is a cool card, and it would be a way to get into, like you said, a young Henderson. I like the 81 Topps design with the hat down there at the bottom, and a young Ricky. It's not an action pose or anything like that. Just him kind of, I don't know, not really smiling for the camera. Almost got kind of a puzzled look on his face.
Yeah. Like he had a chili dog that didn't go down just quite
Yeah,
right.
exactly.
Yeah,
Yeah. Something's going on.
yeah. So good option here. Early playing days, Henderson. If you're interested, go pick it up. Second, this is what a great card. This is one of my favorite. This was an early pickup I made because of one, I'm a big fan of Cal Ripken in general. Had never owned his rookie card as a kid or in my previous collecting years, so I went and picked this one up. This is a card of a legend, and I know he has a traded version of this card, but this is the one that I think of. This is probably the one I think most people do think of to some degree, but PSA average on this card is $43.72. SGC average of $32.17. And a eBay average on its recent sales of $41.90. So great card. The man that broke Lou Gehrig's continuous games record. I remember watching that take place as a kid and how the game stopped. And, Cal came out, made his way around the stadium. That was an awesome thing to watch.
Special night. Yeah.
It was. And so I'm going to pull myself up here. I actually have this card. If I can figure out how to pull myself up. There we go. Bought this one early on. This one is in a PSA 8.
Nice.
And actually, I should have pulled up my old purchase history to actually show what I bought it for, but I think it was actually cheaper at the time I bought it or just right under that $43 mark. So glad to have that one.
Yeah, for sure. So I've got a raw copy that I actually bought back. I have a lower grade copy. Sorry, my glare is going to be kind of play heck with me tonight here, but it's a really nice copy that I bought during the pandemic. I think I gave around $20 or $25 for this raw. I think it probably has a shot at an 8, but this is a card that I bought and kind of backed off grading because to the point of I'm gonna, especially if it's PSA, I'm gonna spend $20 or $25 to grade it. I've got whatever it was, $20 or $25 into it, so I'm gonna probably spend, and I'm gonna take the chance that it's probably not gonna be better than an 8. Maybe it's a 7. So I'll probably end up picking up a PSA 8 in this card rather than take the chance of grading, which was my original intention when I bought this card, was to take it and get it graded. And the funny thing about this card, you talked about the traded card, which it's a card that I don't have that I really want to own, but it's one of those rare instances where it wasn't his first rookie. A lot of times the traded is his first rookie, right? Well, in this case, this card right here came out. I think it's just a factor of that it was only Ripken on the card in the traded series, and then the scarcity of the 82 tops traded. You couldn't buy packs of it. You had to buy the full set. But I think that is kind of an anomaly in the hobby. Usually it's a traded set from the year before. Like you would think if it was the 1981 tops traded Cal Ripken, it would be worth more. But this one is actually the first rookie that came out. So along with the Donruss and the Fleer.
Right. So pop quiz, Joe. Do you happen to have Brother Billy's infamous F-face Fleer card?
I don't have the unedited version. I have a couple versions. I have a couple, and I believe they're both the black box version from because when I was a kid, I guess it was corrected by the time I was buying packs because I can remember pulling a black box, and I believe I have a factory set that I believe also had a black box in it. So I don't own the infamous one. It's one that's on my list, but I've never really felt like spending the money on it.
I just knew because I've got tons of old 88, 89 Fleer. I can't remember which year is that from, Joe. Is it 88?
89.
89. I've got a ton of both, and I just knew I was going to go back through those boxes and find one not to be.
Yeah.
All right, moving on. Great card. I do not have a copy of this card, although I need one. I have the actual 83 Donruss rookie card of Gwynn, but 83 tops rookie card, Tony Gwynn, card number 482. PSA 8 average of $45.13. SGC 8 average $31.62. And as you can see, the recent eBay sales average out to $43.66. Besides the Gwynn, 83 Tops has Sandberg and Boggs rookies as well. So these are all great cards. I have the Boggs, I have the Sandberg. I really need to pick up the Gwynn, but this is a great card too.
Absolutely, and this is one of Chris from Missouri's favorite cards. He loves the Tony Gwynn Big Butt card. So it is kind of an odd image, on a card, but Gwen is one of those guys that I definitely appreciated when I was a kid because, I collected, like, I did not collect just Cardinal cards. When I was a kid, I wanted to collect the best players in the game. My favorite player was Griffey Jr. But I had other players that were really, kind of on my Mount Rushmore of my childhood, and Gwen is on that. So now this is a card that I had a raw copy of that was, pretty off center and a little rough. So I did go out and I was looking and I was looking around to try to find nice copies of it. And actually, what I ended up finding is, and I've been on this bandwagon a little bit here lately, but I found two different cards that I'm going to show here. And the first one is the 83 Fleer. Now, this is a CSG slab. This is before they made the full change to CGC, but basically the same company. I've been thumping, the bandwagon here, the drum on the bandwagon for CGC lately. Because I really like their slabs. I think they look really good. I think they're, quality, probably one of the best slabs you can hold. So I got this 83 Fleer in an 8, and from the same seller with combined shipping, I got that Tops in a CSG 8.
Very nice.
I mean, you look at this card, and it's, it's centered pretty well. I mean, I would call it, 85-15 centering, something like that, maybe. Or better than that. Sorry, I'm thinking along. More like probably 60-40, 55-35 is what I was thinking in my head. But it is both of these cards out the door shipped. I was under $50. So and these cards in a PSA 8, you showed it up there on the screen. Same. I don't remember the exact amount there, Tyler, without pulling it up. But I saved myself a few bucks, and to me, they look just as good. So.
Absolutely. And I was actually thumbing back through my purchases, Joe, to see if I could find what I paid for my copy of this Donruss that I'm getting ready to show. And I don't know why I went with the Donruss over the Tops. It was early on. I knew I wanted a Gwyn rookie. So I don't know, but I'll come back and pick the Tops version up at some point. But here's the 83 Donruss. So we have covered the Gwyn rookie bases pretty well.
That was still on my list, and I looked when you pulled it up. The PSA 8 was 40-something bucks for those, so I got both of mine for just a little bit more than one PSA 8. And I'm telling you, don't sleep on CSG if you're looking to pick these cards up. I did it for almost half of what it would have cost me in PSA.
Yeah, you done well, Pilgrim.
Yeah,
as the Duke would say. Oddly enough, when I first got back into the hobby, my son and I have mentioned this before. We were putting together the 2025 Series 1, or really the flagship set, but we were in Series 1 to come out, and we were opening some packs at that time. And I pulled out it's an orange patch relic. It's a Gwyn, but it's numbered to 25, and I've got number 1. And it is a cool looking card. I need to show that to you sometime.
Yeah, for sure.
But it's a cool card. I think it's numbered 25. I have to go grab it to be certain, but it's a low serial number, and we were totally excited. I think that's what actually made me think, hey, I need to go get a Gwyn rookie. Was pull up that relic patch, but happy to have it. So guys, go get you a Tony Gwynn rookie.
Absolutely, the greatest hitter of his generation. Pure hitter. Super athletic dude too for a big guy. He played basketball when he was at San Diego State as well, and I think he did pretty well at that.
I've heard Greg Maddox talk about how great a hitter Gwyn was and how tough he was to face as a pitcher, and to have the professor say that there was just no way to pitch you. That's pretty good.
That's the ultimate compliment. And just look at Gwyn's strikeout. He strikes out less than some guys do in a homestand, and that's not even an exaggeration.
Absolutely. And as a plus for you guys watching, if you buy this card, because this is, as Joe mentioned, one of Chris from Missouri's favorite cards, you may get a sticker or something from the Chris from Missouri fan club. Who knows?
Yeah, for sure.
What might happen there. All right. I know there's several people that are going to enjoy this card. Wade Boggs, Boston Red Sox, great. Hall of Famer. PSA 8 average, $30.48. We mentioned earlier this is his rookie card with Gwynn and Sandberg in the series, or in that set. SGC 8 average, $20.40. Recent eBay sales. These are from January the 8th, January the 7th, and January the 7th. $36.66. That's a great deal.
That is a great deal. I mean, that's another talk about the other guy, probably number 2 on that pure hitter list. It's got to be Wade Boggs. And, I went a little bit different because, once again, I had a lower grade copy of this from my childhood, something I would never grade. And honestly, my copy here, I just picked this up in the last couple weeks. And it's a near mint copy, but I didn't buy it to grade it. This is going to go to Boggs, who is a prolific TTMer, and I've kind of went down that rabbit hole. And he signs his rookie cards for $20 or $30. You can get this signed, and apparently the turnaround time is quite fast. Like he does it like real quick. So another avenue to think about too is, like, I picked that up raw. I feel like I got a really good deal on near mint copy. I got it for like $11 shipped, and whatever, $20 or $30. I'm gonna get it signed. So that's going to be my Boggs rookie in the PC, at least in the short term.
Absolutely. And so I do. This is, again, when I bought the Gwyn and then realized how good looking the Sandberg, or when I bought the Donruss Gwyn, I really started looking at, well, what Hall of Famers were in the 83, that kind of that rookie class. Stumbled on Sandberg and Boggs. So I bought my copy. I bought Boggs and Sandberg together, actually. And maybe I should have included Rhino in this run, but I didn't. But so this is my copy in a PSA 8. Happy to have it. I actually just got, within the last 2 or 3 months, got my first Boggs auto on a
Nice.
Talk about some junk wax goodness. The 90 Score Masters set.
Oh, that's a cool card. Yeah.
Yeah. And it turned out it's a really, really good, nice looking card with if he hadn't written right across his face, it would look a lot better. But I hope John Wade Boggs fans should appreciate that we've included this.
Absolutely. Yeah.
He's got to give us a shout out for that at some point. All right. Moving on. So, Donnie Ball Game. This one I was interested in because when I really started looking at what cards we were going to talk about, it was actually before the Hall of Fame vote.
Mm-hmm.
And I kind of thought there's going to be a huge spike, and especially this 84. This is the tops. I actually think the Donruss is the prettier card by far. But it was not to be. Donnie Ball Game didn't make it in. So, yeah, still find this card cheap. PSA 8 average, 35.78, 32.30 in SGC. Surprisingly, the recent sales on eBay are a little bit higher, $43.99. So January the 5th, one sold for $36. Another sold on the 5th for $47.99, and on the 3rd, we had one sell for $48.
Well, Tyler, they say there's no such thing as bad press. So even if he didn't make the Hall of Fame, his name's been in the hobbyverse a lot more lately than it, and it was in there quite a bit anyway. Some people might say, is he really a GOAT? Yeah, if you remember watching him, from 84 to the early 90s there, yeah, he was pretty darn good. So and that Donruss card's awesome, but in a PSA 8, that Donruss card is still really, really pricey. So this card here is still iconic. I love the fielding position. I think it's a cool looking image. When I think of childhood, when I think of junk wax, I don't know that I can think of any other card that represents the era that much. So it's a great player. It's a great representation of the entire junk wax era. And honestly, I sold mine when I was a kid, or traded it, one of the two. So another pandemic pickup is I bought this nice raw copy. This is a nice near mint copy. I mean, I got it real cheap. Guy sold it like too cheap, like $5 cheap, I think is what I gave for this card. And again, it's a little OC. I don't know. It might get an 8 and it might not. Back to the point of, I bought this, probably 4 or 5 years ago, and with the intention of grading it at some point. But now I think I would keep this nice, put it in one of my Mag Pros, and just go buy a PSA 8 or an SGC 8 for the prices that you're showing up there on the screen, because it's just crazy cheap to have one of the most iconic cards of the 80s, period, in my opinion.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, and a card I would say that most people, when they think of their collection, that's a card they either have or want to have.
Yes.
So, all right, moving on. The Doc.
Yep.
So I actually just got his auto as well with Boggs at the same show. But This is the 1984 Topps Traded card number 42T, the Dwight Gooden rookie. PSA average 48.62, SGC average 38.75. Recent eBay sales right there with the PSA 8 average. All those may have already, like I said, filtered over to VCP. I'd have to cross reference them, but 48.33 on eBay. Recent sales of $50, $45, and right at $50 from December 23rd to January 1st. So if somebody was shopping on New Year's, I don't blame them. That's a good time to be looking for some cards.
So yeah, this is another one of those, traded sets where it was a separate issue. You couldn't pack pull it. I wouldn't say they're scarce, but they're scarcer than your base set. And this is a card that I don't have, and I've never owned this card. This is one of those cards that I would say, kind of like the 82 Topps traded Ripken, is on my list. 83 Topps traded Darryl Strawberry as well. Those are cards that I wanted when I was a kid. Still haven't picked up, but you look at this and shoot, I think I'd buy me a nice SGC 8 and save myself $10 more. That's just crazy. Yep. When you think about another guy that peak Doc Gooden was pretty damn good. If you watched him pitch, he was unbelievable.
Yeah, and if I'm not mistaken, we talking 3 World Series with the Doc? Am I right on that?
I honestly, he was in just one with the Mets, right? Did he go to 2 with the Yankees?
Yeah, I was thinking with the Yankees.
He might have. I don't know.
Well,
but he had a little bit of a resurgence there towards the end of his career. I can't remember that as well as I do. I can remember those, remember 85 Doc Gooden. I was pretty young, but I could just remember he was everywhere, all through the news.
Yeah. If I'm not mistaken, I think there's a Strawberry in the Topps traded set too.
He's in the base set. I think he's base.
Okay.
I believe he's base set. I'm pretty sure I'm right now. But he's 83 Topps traded for sure. Is kind of his chase rookie, if you will.
It's one thing that's important to note about, especially like 84 and beyond, is even with the tradeds, but you have the kind of the Tiffany's that you can get into as well, and of course those are usually more expensive. So this is the base 84 Topps traded, not the Tiffany. Yeah,
the Tiffany's add quite a bit. I've heard different things on print run of them of like 10,000 or something like that. I've never researched it. I don't know how true that is, but for the junk wax era, it might as well be a SSP compared to everything else.
Right. All right. Moving on. Oh, the Mark McGwire rookie.
Yeah.
85 Topps, card number 401. This is his USA Baseball image from 84.
Yep.
PSA 8 average $27.19. SGC 8 average $22.67. Recent eBay sales $33.33.
So here's another guy that people might say, he's really a GOAT. Yes, from 87 to 98. Yes, he was. Does he belong in the Hall of Fame? I don't know. I wax back and forth, and that's a whole nother episode. But he was definitely a GOAT of the era. You put this card to me is right up there in that pantheon, that Mount Rushmore of 80s cards that everybody wanted, right? And there was a fervor. I mean, I live in St. Louis. I was still collecting cards in 98. I was working at a card shop in 98. And I can remember everybody wanted this card, and it was worth more then than it is now. Outside of maybe if you had a PSA 10, it was worth more then. And that's when I had multiple copies, and I sold them all at the peak of it. So I came, back into collecting. I did not have this card. So this is a card that, I went out and I'm looking. Well, I wanted a really nice centered copy of this because, like many cards, it's hard to find a good centered copy. The PSA 9 in this card is it triples in price at least. Actually, I think it's well over $100. It might be between $100 and $150, I think, for a 9. So I wasn't going to pay that for one, and I'm looking at 8s. Well, again, I go back and I'm going to show this here. Go back to CGC, and I found like the perfect. Let's get there. The perfect blend, if you will. I got a CGC 8.5. And I bought this bad boy for $25.
Very nice.
Yeah, it is a sharp card. And just because it didn't have a 9 on it or a PSA, flip on it, I got it for the same price as a PSA 8 or an SGC 8. I got this for I feel like is a steal. So that's my I'm happy with this card being my forever 85 tops Mark McGwire rookie card. I love it. It's another iconic card of the decade.
That's a nice card. Joe, are we going to have to start including the alternate slabs? I mean, CGC's a good looking slab, man.
They are good. I'm telling you, go out and buy one. Get on eBay, buy you like a $20 or $30 slab of a card you want anyway. Feel the slab in your hands. It feels like quality. I like SGC, but I'm telling you, I could take an SGC slab out, slap it on my desk here, and it would probably pop open. They're just not. They're not as substantial. PSA feels more substantial, but still like they do the frosting and stuff depending on what generation you have. This thing is like crystal clear. It just feels really good in your hand. I like it. I mean, I may end up being a convert to CGC at some point, at least for certain things.
They grade a mean comic book too, Joe.
They do. Yeah, I've got some of those right over here on my desk as well. I've got a few CGC slabs. So they've been in the game for a while. They have their problems too. Every grading company does. But in this case, I went to CGC on 3 of these cards that I've shown because I got a better value and I felt like it was the same card. I feel like they, I look at these cards and I look them over and I'm like, that looks as good as any, PSA 8 or SGC 8. So I'm going this route and saving myself some money.
Yeah. Well, I don't have it slabbed. I do have it raw. Had to pull this one out of the 085 binder, Joe. I actually have the full set of the 85 series. So
nice.
Let's turn it around here. Am I upside down still, Joe? I am.
Yep.
So happy to have it. I actually kind of like the 85 series.
Yeah, 85 is a good looking set.
Good looking set.
Yep.
I actually saw that card in a local card shop in Knoxville. I'm going to say a month, 5-6 weeks ago, and they had it right at $30. So they were kind of lining up with the comps there. Oh,
beautiful.
Bo knows. So I remember this card. I mean, when I think of Bo cards, I automatically think of the score with the shoulder pads and the baseball.
Oh, yeah.
That's iconic, right? But I love this card too because this one's right there with it as far as sticking out in my memory. So this is the 1987 Topps number 170 Future Stars. There is no reason, Joe. If people hear us say this, there's no reason not to have it, and you can go get it in an 8 fairly cheap. I assure you, very cheap, cheaper than you can buy it and grade it.
Yeah, so, there's no grading company out there now that is worth grading with. That you can buy the card, a nice copy, and get it graded for that price. It's crazy.
Exactly. So to the point, PSA 8 average $13.43. SGC 8 average $11.91. Recent eBay sales are a little bit higher. There was a sale on January the 7th for $13.50. Of course, when I call out eBay prices, and that's card only, that's not shipping and tax and all, There was another card on January the 5th. $20 or January the 5th, $20. So that average works out to $17.49 for a great Bo Jackson.
Absolutely fantastic card in my book. I love the multicolor kind of, rainbow Future Stars at the bottom. 87 Topps started it all for me. It was the first set I ever built with my grandfather. Wasn't the first packs I remember opening, but it was the first packs I can remember opening with intention of building a set. Like, hey, we're going to buy packs. We're going to buy packs, and we're going to make a checklist, and we're going to put them in order. And I don't have this card graded. Sad to say, I don't have a lot of 87. As much as I love it, I don't have it graded. So this is out of my hand collated 87 Topps set. Means a whole lot to me, knowing my grandpa and I have both, one of us put this in order in that set. Maybe we did it together. I don't remember. So it wouldn't grade an 8. I'll tell you that. Looking at it, it's it was loved, but it's my copy, and this will stay forever. If I ever get a chance to get it signed, but this will be the one I get signed though, just because it means something to me. But yeah, why not buy? I'm going to go buy an 8 too. It reminds me of Jack Morris from the 70s when we did that show.
Yeah,
you can go out and get a Jack Morris PSA 7 for like $12. It's just one of those cards that skip lunch one day and buy you this card and have it in your PC.
And you got it. Well, I've got it raw too, Joe. And this is another. I've got the 87 set as well, bindered. So I pulled this one out of the binder to show. This one's from the childhood collection.
Yeah.
Another nice card. And there's something about Bo, man. I don't know if it was just like his mystique when I was growing up. The fact that he was a complete freak of an athlete. I remember him making the catch and like doing the Spider-Man climbing the wall, like with his feet there, running up the wall. The clip you see all the time. He just did stuff that was, it just made you go, "What? What did he just do?" So,
Yeah, he was a freak of nature. I mean, it's like I tried explaining to my son how he was so good at football and baseball, and just an unbelievable athlete. It's probably never see anything like that again.
no.
Between him and Dion and Brian Jordan, it's just not something that we're going to see.
Yeah. Well, and let's not forget he was a complete badass on Tecmo Bowl. If you
Oh,
got the Raiders and you just did the zigzag thing,
yeah,
gone.
that, and you had Howie Long at like
Yeah.
defensive or nose tackle or whatever. You get a lot of sacks. Yep, it was
Yep.
crazy.
Yeah. Bo was the man. You wanted the Raiders. Oh, the professor.
Yes, guy's a
Uh,
national treasure. I tell everybody, go listen
oh,
to his interviews. Anytime I come across an interview or a clip of an interview, the dude he's right there with Gwen as a guy that I collected when I was a kid and I really liked, even though I wasn't a Cubs fan, I wasn't a Braves fan, but watching Maddox pitch was unbelievable.
it
And looking
was.
back on it, I don't there'll never be another guy like him. He's somebody that I could see myself if I was ever gonna just focus on one player. This might be the guy. That's how much I enjoyed watching him, but then listening to him, he's a national treasure.
Yeah.
He's hilarious.
I gotta say I've had the same thought, and I actually own a lot of his base cards. The one jersey that I have framed and hanging on the other wall over here is it's a replica. Uh, I guess the World Series patch. No, I guess it'd be 95. With the replica World Series patch on it. It's a Maddox jersey. I've got it framed and showing it off. I love Greg Maddox.
He's awesome. Now this is a card here. You look at an 8, and you can get an 8 in a SGC for under $10. That's crazy to me.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't have this card graded, and I went and pulled it out actually this evening out of my 87 tops traded set. That it wasn't still sealed, but it had never been taken out. I just left it there. And I'll be danged if this card, I mean, this might need to go get graded. I don't think it's a 10. I think the chances of a 10, but I think I could get a 9 on this guy. It is that sharp of a copy out of my childhood. Got the bright back on it of the traded set. Uh, Now I don't have that graded, but I've got his 87 Donruss, which this is one of Mike Payne's 300 great baseball cards. I love the
Yep.
stash, the rated rookie. I got this on ComC for like, I don't know, maybe right at $30. And this was a recent purchase too. I just was like, with the stash and everything, I've got to have the $87. And then a 9 with that black border chipping. I mean, a 9 is a really, really solid copy of this card. So I think this is kind of the era that you can get a 9 even above an 8 and not break the bank. Now this is the 87 Fleer update, and it is not. This is the glossy. I'm sorry. This is the glossy. This was another ComC purchase a few years ago, I think. And I got it for like, I think under $25. So you can step up to a 9 in these 87 Greg Maddux cards and still not, break the bank. But if you're happy with an 8, which there's nothing wrong with an 8, man, you could save some money.
Absolutely. And so I actually went and bought this card because once I realized how cheap this was, I knew I wanted to include this card, but I had to looked at the comps yet, weren't familiar with it. When I saw the comps, I did go get it, and I looked up. So I got it in an 8. I looked up my purchase history in eBay on this one, and I was right at $15 on this card, which is exactly.
That's a really good price. Like you say, you couldn't get it graded for that if you wanted to.
No. Great card, great looking card. Happy to have that. I've got his Donruss rookie you just showed away. I've got multiple copies of that one. Love that card as well.
That's a great card. Yeah, I love the stash on the Donruss.
Yeah, so $14.37 for a PSA 8, $9.80 in SGC, $9.99 average on the most recent eBay sales. Go get a Maddox rookie. Why not?
Yeah.
Griffey. So I've got I think you may have heard me gripe about this, Joe. I found this
Yeah.
card. I've always loved this card. I never had this card. I do have the 89 Upper Deck rookie, obviously, one everybody thinks of when you think Griffey. And I found it on eBay. The PSA 8 average is $15.13. I found a bid that was getting ready to close that about 3 people were watching, and I thought, I've got it. Because I think at the time, from what I could tell, the high bid was like $650. I had something I had to go do. I put in a max bid of I think $15, and I thought I've got that no problem. 1550 took the card, and I did not get it.
That's crazy, just yeah, that's
Yeah.
awesome.
So one of the icons, the kid. So Topps traded number 41 from the 89 run. PSA average 1513, SGC 8 average 1475. Recent eBay sales $18.88.
And
I think this is actually one of like sometimes I look at this card like this card has really grown on me. It's a pretty card.
I love it. I mean, to me, the 89 upper deck is his card, right? There's no, I think, getting with that. But after that, I like a lot of them. His other. I mean, I like his Fleer. His score traded is not so great. This got to be number 2 for me. I like this better than the Bowman. The score, and I just think it's a great card. It is one that I've got in a 9. And once again, I was a Griffey collector, right? Like that was my guy when I was a kid. The only reason he's not as much my guy today is he's so dang expensive. It's kind of like Mantle being your guy, or Cobb being your guy almost when you talk about rare Griffey stuff. So I haven't hit him as hard as I probably would like to, but I got this card. This is another ComC purchase. This is a new label 9 because I looked at some old label 9s and man, they were off center pretty bad. So this one was really a nice centered copy. And I gave like right at $30 for it in a 9, and then with ComC, I was able to package it all together and ship it to me and incur shipping charges just, that one time instead of paying $5 or $6 every time you buy one on eBay. So
right.
Yeah, I love this card. I think it's great. It's like peak 80s,
It is. Well, this is another one of the Topps cards. So this is the base traded card. The Tiffany in this card, especially in a high grade, exorbitantly higher. But I've seen some of the Tiffany's that have been autographed, especially in like blue Sharpie.
Yeah,
and they are beautiful. If you've ever run across one of those,
yes,
I'd love to have one.
I'd love to have one too. His cards, if they're PSA DNA slabbed, they can be kind of expensive. That's one thing at the National. I don't know the dealer, but like he had almost an entire case full of nothing but slabbed like Griffey rookies from Upper Deck and 89 Topps, and I think he had Fleer, and I think he had some of every rookie, multiple copies slabbed up. They're pretty pricey, but man, they look really good and they're a great item.
Yep, they are. Moving on, Joe. I think this is our last card of the night, if I'm not mistaken. 1989 Upper Deck, Randy Johnson.
Big unit.
Rookie card. And so everybody thinks, like we just talked about, everybody talks about card number 1, the Griffey rookie from the Upper Deck set. You can kind of forget that Randy Johnson's rookie card is in that set, and it can be had cheap.
Dirt cheap. Look at that price.
Yep.
Less than $10.
Absolutely.
You're going to spend more money on lunch at McDonald's. Skip McDonald's. Get you a Randy Johnson in a PSA 8 C8. Because this is the other guy, right? If I'm building out kind of that Mount Rushmore of my guys, this was another one. Randy Johnson, I just absolutely loved. 6'9", hitting triple digits. I love this card because I love the old Expos uni, the blue. Played with my guy Griffey, on the Mariners, but then went on to do it. There's years with the Diamondbacks. I mean, just unbelievable at his peak. And I just think back to one of my favorite All-Star games was him throwing at Kruk's head, and Kruk wouldn't get back in the batter's box then.
Yeah.
I just think about that. I just love this card, and I don't know why somebody would not want this in their collection. I happen to have a PSA 8 that I've had for a long time, so I don't even know how much I gave for this or where it's at, but I've had this for a very, very long time. And again, you to pull this out, other than a little bit of centering, and I wouldn't even say it's a lot of centering. You're going to look at this, and you're going to put this up against a 10, and you're going to be like, because the hologram's good, you're going to be like, what is the difference? Don't pay a 10 tax. In this case, don't even pay a 9 tax. Go buy a card for less than $10.
All right. Well, I would love to have one slabbed. I don't. I'm going to go get one now, but I do have this card raw. So this came out of the another binder find, the 089 set. Had to pull it. Love it. So you mentioned John Krug. That's another guy that's in the running for being a national treasure because he is hilarious.
Yes.
And the other thing I think of when I think Randy Johnson is the infamous bird ball that he threw.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
That was both bizarre and something you could not look away from. Yeah. You just want to watch that happen over and over and think, what timing? Yeah.
Yeah, crazy.
It was. So, Joe, my friend, that brings us to the end of this episode of Goats on a Budget.
Man, it went by fast. It's a lot of fun. We covered a lot of great cards, and I'm telling you, if anybody is watching this and they're interested at all, don't shy away from a nice PSA 8. And if you want to pay up on a 9 on some of these later cards, go do it. But go get at least an 8. It's less than the price of grading. Just go do it.
All right. Well, Joe, as always, it has been my pleasure. For you guys that are out there watching, thank you for joining us. If you haven't already, please visit Joe's channel. Hit like and subscribe. Follow this guy. He's one of the best content creators on YouTube and very knowledgeable in the hobby. All-around great guy. And, of course, if this is your first time seeing me, sure happy you stopped by. Hope you're having a great day. Joe, until next time, my friend, be well.
See you guys. See you, Tyler.